I'm Mark Hunter, the Sales Hunter, and I did write the book, A Mind for Sales, and every week I put out a new video like this. I do want you to hit subscribe, and I want you to read the book. Because I tell you what, your mindset is going to impact how you sell and the results you achieve. And what I'm talking about right now is how to overcome an objection. I'm going to give you 10 strategies that you can run with. And believe me, it starts with having a mind for sales. But hey, number one, relax. Relax. Too many times what happens is people hear an objection and they automatically freak out. They automatically, I don't know where to go, and they shut down. And when you're not relaxed, it's amazing how you don't hear. It's amazing how you don't listen. And it's amazing how you rush to judgment. Number one is relax. Number two, be prepared. When I say be prepared, what is this about? It's about knowing what objections you might hear. Now, one of the ways that you're relaxed is because you're prepared. Before you go into any sales call, I want you to write down all of the objections that you may hear. Now, I don't say this from a negative standpoint. I say this from a positive standpoint. You're writing down all the objections that you could hear. And I want you to write down what are going to be possible solutions, what are going to be possible ideas. Now, I'm not expecting you to get perfect in that because you really don't know until you hear the objection and the context with which it's said. But you want to begin thinking, if this objection comes up, how might I handle it? Number three, restate it as you heard it. Now, do not restate the objection word for word. That's what a parakeet does. That's what our parrot does, or whatever it is. No. What you want to do is you want to repeat it as you heard it. This is your ability now to take that objection and frame it into your own words. And it's your ability to start putting your ownership on it. What you're doing here is you're getting the customer to begin thinking about their objection. So I always will come back and restate as I heard it. And yes, that means I can alter it slightly. Now, don't do it too much, but you can alter a few words. For instance, the customer says your price is too high. I might come back and say, so help me understand, what is it? Or why is it you feel the price is too high? Now, that takes us right into number four, which is question the objection. You see, restate as you heard it, number three, and number four, question the objection, very much come into play. You see, just because somebody says an objection doesn't mean they really know what they're talking about. So I'm going to question. I'm immediately going to come back and ask them a question to get them to explain more, to get them to clarify more, to get them to talk more about it. Because chances are, it's not the initial objection that they're objecting to. It's something else leading up to it, which takes us to number five, know the background. You know the background by understanding the framework from where the customer's coming from. Where is this customer coming from? Where are they at right now? The more I know, and this is why from a prospecting standpoint, you got to do your homework before you begin prospecting. Because your whole piece here is that the more you know about their background, the better off you're going to be able to be in terms of understanding where they're coming from with their objection. Which takes us to number six, tie it to the need. You see, here's the whole thing. The more background work I do, the more insight I have about you, the more I know what your needs are. When you do say an objection, I can tie it to your need. You see, so when the customer says your price is too high, I can sit there and say, you were mentioning that this over here was costing you more money. Is that still the case? You see, I'm tying it back to the need that they are really hearing. Or that you see what I'm doing? I'm now helping them understand a solution to their objection, to their real objection. Number seven, defer the response. What do I mean by this? There are times when you will hear an objection and you can go ahead and question the objection. You know the background. You know you can tie it to the need, but you're going to say, hey, hold on to that for just a moment. Let me share with you a couple more pieces here. Let me walk you through a few things, and this may all come into play. You see, I could sit there and just give them the quick answer, but that doesn't work. Example of this is that customer calls up and says, hey, give me a quick price quote. Give me a quick price quote. You have no idea who this customer is. So, I'm going to defer the response. I'm not going to give you a quick price quote because I don't know enough about you. I'm going to say, hey, let me ask you some questions because I don't want to set you up with something that's not right for you. Go ahead and defer the response. Number 8, clarify. Clarify. After you have tied it back to a need and you begin to ask them, you have to make sure that they really understand the solution you put out there. Now, what do I mean by this? So you might sit there and we're talking about price. They say price is too high, and you sit here and say, well, you mentioned that you needed to get this in place so you can save money over here. You see, I'm getting them to clarify. I'm getting them to clarify. Which then takes us to number 9, gain understanding. Gain understanding. What do I mean by gain understanding? I can give you a response to an objection, but all I really know is that you probably heard it. Did you really understand it? So I'm going to come back and I'm going to ask you a question. I'm going to ask you a question in terms of how does that help answer your objection? How do you see where this is now going to fit into this? I'm not going to hesitate. Too many salespeople, what they do is they fail to gain understanding because they're afraid. They're afraid that they answer the objection, but they're afraid the customer isn't going to buy into it, and they run past it. No. I want to make sure that I gain understanding. Number 10, know the value of the objection. Here's the whole thing. Many times customers will throw out an objection that is really so trivial. It's no big deal. They might say, hey, I can't handle that size of quantity. Okay, so the value of the objection has two weights to it. The weight to the customer and the weight to you. You see, what I want to understand is not only what is the weight to the customer, but what's the weight to me. In other words, example, customer says, there's no way I could handle that much inventory at one time. You see, the weight to the customer might be or the value of the customer. Is it because they don't want to tie up the money? Is it because they don't have space? Is it because of some other issue? You see, I got to understand what's the value of the objection. For me over here, I got to understand what's the value so they don't want that much quantity. Is it because I need to ship this much to make my number? Is it because I need to ship this much because that's the only way we ship? Is it because of production? See, when I understand the value on both sides, then I can begin to understand how I should be handling the objection. Don't freak out when you hear an objection. Nothing to run from. Face it head on, relax, be prepared. I'm Mark Hunter, the Sales Hunter. Great selling.